Welcome, my name is Viridiana, and this is Create Like a Chingona, where I show you tips and tricks designing using different programs such as Illustrator, Canva, and more. So today I want to touch bases on the pen tool. The pen tool is the hardest tool, in my opinion, to learn because it's not very intuitive, like maybe an actual pencil tool that we use on an iPad. And it could be a little bit difficult at first to navigate, but practice makes perfect. And I want to show you the steps to get there. Okay, so I have downloaded a couple of images from the internet. Of course, you can download whatever you want, but it's probably best to start with simple shapes at the beginning. So the pen tool is literally this little pen tip that looks like a little pen. And if you hover over it, you'll see that it kind of shows you already a little tutorial on how to use it. It's basically like you're tracing your image, but it's done with anchors, points, and you have to learn how to maneuver it. It's a little tricky. But let's go ahead and get started with making the star. So now you can tell that my cursor is on pen tool because there's a pen, the little asterisk on the side. These are anchor points and points that you want to start with. So your first anchor point can start really anywhere, but I'm going to start here. That's telling it, okay, this is the beginning of my tracing. Now, as you can see, as I start moving my pen tool up and down without clicking or anything, that it's already trying to go somewhere. It's waiting for direction on where to go. You see there's like a blue line, and it's like, okay, tell me, it's literally saying, where do you want me to go next? And straight lines are the easiest to start with. We're going to start at the end of this line here, which is the intersection here. And that's telling it to end there and create another point. So as you can see right now, it is still blue, and that is because another thing to keep in mind is your fill and stroke. Fill and stroke right now is in a fill, meaning it's just going to fill in the space. And when you're working with pen tools, it's good to work with a stroke. So I'm going to reverse this. And you could even make this a very bright color so you can kind of see what you're doing. So if you double click on the stroke, you can do like a red, and now you can really see that first line. Now the next uh, anchor. So the next anchor will be at the top about right here. You can see the blue line's already kind of telling you what exactly it's doing. So you can kind of already gauge if it's going exactly where you want it to be. So that seems about right. We're going to click and tell it, yep, that's my next line, my next anchor. And so forth, so forth. As you can see, this is literally tracing it with anchor. Every anchor is creating a line right behind you. So you have to make sure it is clicking right in the right spot. So that in a nutshell is a star. If we click it, we can reverse that and make it filled. Couple different options to make there. Let's move on to the heart. So the heart, like I said, it doesn't really matter where you start. I like to kind of start somewhere where I think it'd be a good finish, like maybe right here in the middle. That's my first anchor point. Once again, it is in red as filled. You want to look at your stroke, and we want it to be in not a fill, but in a stroke. So I'm going to hit the swap to activate my stroke, and then I'm going to switch the color because we don't want red. We won't be able to see what's going on. Maybe this bright green. And curves are definitely a lot different because obviously they're not straight, but you still want to tell it where the next one is. And with curve, you don't want to go too far because with curve, there's just more anchor points that are going to happen in between. So I think about here's a good start. You'll kind of get a hang of this after a while. It takes time. Sometimes you'll overdo it, underdo it. And all you do is go back and reverse. Or there's other methods I can show you after as well. So I think this is a good start to start at my next anchor point. Now, the difference between this on a curve is you don't want to let go of your cursor. You're going to keep holding your cursor down. And then this is where I recommend really messing with it until you get a hang of it because it's really like the opposite. It's not intuitively as you think. So you think because I want it to curve up that you would move up, but no, it's the other way around. But I would sit there and kind of play with this because at the very beginning, it's going to feel very weird and foreign to mess around with this. And it's going to go end up like this, it's going to end up like that. It's going to be a little crazy. But the key is to keep holding your cursor down and messing with it. This is obviously to curve still. You can move a little bit more to the right, to the left, but it's literally an up and down motion. And this takes time and to practice and learn. But as you can see here, this seems about right there. I am now going to let go. And as you can see, it's kind of trying to tell me, hey, what do you want to go? No, it's trying to predict. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It's not horrible. So you can go with that and then edit it afterwards, or you can click again on the last anchor point by clicking it. And now it's activated a brand new one. It's trying to do a straight line. We still want a curved one, but we're going to start with the next anchor, which is about maybe right there. Click, hold, once again, drag down your cursor. And you kind of just move it around until it feels right, looks right. That seems about good right now. And then once again, I'm going to click on the last anchor point and tell it that the next one may be around here. So forth, so forth. You can kind of get the gist of this. It's going to keep curving along until you get to the edge. And like I said, this takes time to work with it. It's all practice, practice, practice. With art and everything, it is always edible. Even if initially you're just like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, it's not even directly in line. Like I'm doing this on purpose right now because I want to show you guys some things. I'm not having it be exactly perfect like the other one. Not that it's, not everything has to be perfect. Also, that's something to keep in mind. I used to be hard on myself and be like, oh my God, like it has to be exactly like this or it's not. That's kind of where the beauty comes on things like that. It's not a perfect art, but it has a little bit of character. So we are practicing it first. So we're trying to go for perfect and get more closely to these. So with this, what I recommend is coming in and playing with your anchor points. So if I click out, you can kind of see that it's obviously not perfect on the left side here. So I'm going to click again on the heart, which I have closed off. I forgot to mention that the last anchor point means that you're closing your whole shape and it's done and it can be filled in completely now. But now that this is closed off and it's a shape, I can mess around with each anchor point curve to adjust it. So you can see right away that there's this really long-ish handle, literally called a handle, blue handle with a dot. And I can play around with that and move it up and down so I can adjust it upwards like this. And I could also do it this one. I can activate another one of these handles by clicking the anchor point here. And as you can see, it activated this one at the top, which is the one I want to move over so it looks that way. And then even this one we can activate. That one looks pretty good, but maybe this one we could prefer a little bit more. And you can see that you've already kind of adjusted it already to look a little better and more for that perfect heart. Let's do the right side. Now, another tool that I love to use is the pen tool. Or sorry, not the pen tool. Another tool I like to use is the smooth tool. And that's over here on the left side. It is called smooth. I did not learn about this until I don't even know, like 5 to 7 years into my design career, and I wish I'd known about it. And this smooths out these anchor points so they're nice and smooth, and it really makes a difference on taking time to edit curve things. So that in a nutshell is the pen tool. See the perfect heart. Let's move on to something a little bit more advanced, which would be kind of more so, I'm going to lock this image. The leaves at the top or the little top greens on this strawberry. So this is going to be a little combination of a lot of curves. So for me to choose the greens, there's a couple ways to do this. You can make it all in one, or you can make each leaf individually. I'm going to do each leaf individually for the sake of this video. Neither is right or correct. basically it's just your style. More simple, minimalistic would be all of the green in one. If you wanted a little bit more detail, you can do each leaf in its own. So that was something that I always designing would not know what to do. There's really no right or wrong way. It's the way you want to make it look. I sometimes like the simplicity of things, making things iconic where you don't have as much detail, but you know what it is. Neither is wrong or right. That's up to you and your style. So to show you this leaf, I am starting at the end over here, edge of the leaf, and then it curves down, but we know that it'll probably be around here. I'm going to hold down my shift key, hold that down. Actually, not down, hold my cursor up. Over time, that becomes natural. It isn't at first, even explaining it isn't, but you'll learn. I mean, even if you go down, you'll realize, okay, that's not exactly what it is. It is up. Now, once again, you can see that it's trying to create a fill, which we don't want initially. We want a stroke. So I'm going to swap this over to stroke, and then I'm going to switch this over to another bright color that we can see what's going on. I'm going to click on my last anchor point because I don't want it to try to guess what's next. I want to tell it what's next. And this is a curve that kind of goes up, but we know we're going to curve it somewhere here, but the anchor could probably end about right there. We wouldn't be able to wing this. This, like if we put the anchor here, that would be like a lot to curve. So you kind of have to think about it that way. So this would be probably the next anchor point. Once again, I'm holding my cursor down and dragging it down. And as you can see, this is exactly what you do with all these curves and anchor points. And that is in a nutshell the first leaf. I'm gonna, in this case, use my pen smooth tool right away. And I'm gonna smooth this out. I'm gonna hit the smooth tool and put that on the anchor points, and that saves me some time from being there and trying to edit them manually. This is great. Some cool things you can do with this if you really want to emulate the leaves on here is to take your pen tool and then be on the stroke and click there. That's exactly the same leaf. You can add a stroke, add some stylized look to it, make your stroke bigger. You can go there manually and literally start creating each one as is, or you can just copy, command paste, object transform, reflect, and just paste the other one on the other side. And you have yourself the mirror. We can copy paste and just repeat the same one, maybe make it smaller. And if you really want it to look a little bit different or even look like exactly like that, this is where you could take your pen tool, not pen tool, you can take your direct selection tool. So if you are selecting this duplicate that I made smaller, then you're going to direct selection tool. Then you can kind of move and maneuver each point here out to make it more unique. If you want to have like a little more unique look, or if you're trying to emulate the one behind, then you can do that by manipulating each anchor point. And I can bring this in more. Another cool thing with stroke and pen tool is if you hit on the right side on your panel here, stroke, there's going to be this cap and round corner thing. You can make that by rounding the cap end of all your points. As you can see, I rounded those, so now you can see the difference between this one and that one. So some pretty cool little things to add uniqueness, more round organic shape, or if you want a pointier shape, you can play with that. In this case, I would use my pen tool. Sorry, I keep using pen tool. I would use my smooth tool again to smooth. We're smoothing, use smooth tool. We want to smooth it out. Another cool feature that I wish I knew about when I started designing, creating, and illustrating is if you zoom in a little bit in here, you can see that this is a pointy end, but there's this little like white small circle that activates I'm going to click on that and then drag it. You can see that it starts rounding in and smoothing. So you can literally go in and make this a very huge end cap and do some pretty cool stuff with that. So even if you mess up and don't have the right shape on something, everything's editable using different tools such as editing anchor handle, going into the stroke, editing the end cap, and then even messing around with this here, which I don't know the name of it. I might have to look it up. Please feel free to throw it in the comments if you know, but this tool has been a lifesaver, especially when working with more round, curvier staff. Great. I hope that that was a little great introduction to get you started creating more stuff. If there's anything in particular that you want to know or learn about, feel free to throw it in the comments. Hasta luego.